We're still down with the same finish that we talked about?
Yeah.
Okay, and then after that, before that, how long do you want the match to go? And also, is there anything that you want in particular?
The only thing, we still do the same finish.
Yeah, I'm cool with the finish. That's probably gonna be like a good couple minutes.
We'll let Chrissy have the more shock look where you're more enraged, but we'll have her pull you out, you know, so you don't like really snap. Because what we're gonna do is at the end, we'll have the little moment where Kiera, Lindsay, and Leva are celebrating. They're gonna all open up the Sierra Mist. They're gonna toast Kiera, you know, toast each other. Leva and Lindsay leave the ring and give Kiera her moment to send it in the intermission.
Defending the legendary principle. When my greatness and my vital since birth umbilical. You shouldn't end something that can start. Just because you point Dexter out doesn't mean you're man dark. You can check my Bliz residence. Type O, opposition, thinking they winning. I tell them AB, it's negative for doubting abilities to cross competition with composition. Right, and demolition of their existence is given. One man wrecking crew, allowing my comrades to nod heads while I'm snapping necks in two. With their dogs, they'll never see vets. Because these snot-nosed punks that do dirt may be what I have to clean next. Yes.
It was very natural to get a chance to work with WSU, you know, and as time went on, it started to be, hey, here's some ideas, you know, and hey, you know, can I talk to you about some creative, you know, can I bounce this off of you and bounce that? And, you know, we would just come up with small little things and, you know, it was, well, hey, Blake, what do you think about the ending of this match? I know you watched it and, you know, hey, I think you could have did this, this, and this. Or, hey, I think this was great. Hey, I think you should focus on this person. And as the time went on, more so for WSU, it was more in that creative aspect.
Wants you to do well. He wants you to succeed. I've never worked with anybody that, I don't want to say anybody, but in wrestling, a lot of bookers have their own intentions. They have different things in mind other than what's in the best interest for the wrestler, what's the best interest for the storyline, and what's the best interest for the fan. And I feel like working with Blake, it wasn't like that ever. It wasn't about him. It was about the girls. It was about making the fans happy, especially in WSU, and making a really great storyline.
Predominantly male-driven industry of professional wrestling. If there's an 8-match card, they'll throw a women's match in there as a spotlight because there are perverts in professional wrestling fans. But with WSU and his vision and how he deals with the talent and how he is driven to give these women an identity, how he's given them a story that they can grasp onto and believe in and portray on camera, it's great.
And he puts so much time into this outside of just what a show entails. And I'll tell you right now, if it wasn't for him, I would not be standing right here. I would not be standing here with WSU, and I would not be trying to pursue this.
I take wrestling very serious. I study it, you know, and everybody knows me since day one. They know how much I love women's wrestling and working in it, how much it means to me. You know, I'm one of those people that when I'm aging in a match or I'm putting stories together or anything like that, I watch a match 3 times. You know, I'll watch it live, and then when I go home and it's available, I will watch it regularly, whether it's on YouTube or anything, or whether it's on any of the platforms. And then I watch it in silence, you know, just to see how I can be able to tell this story better, or what was missing or what stands out and everything. So while at WSU, when it was time to step up and be a part of the booking process, you know, there were a lot of people there that already knew, like, man, he's been giving ideas for a long time and he's there for us, everything. But one of the things I always remember is that first locker room meeting, you know, and in that first meeting, you know, I wanted that security, and I wanted the girls to know that you're fine here. You're in good hands. And, you know, the first thing I said, and I always remember everybody's eyes, was, This is no longer a Fed where you got to worry about somebody telling you I only book girls that I would fuck. And there's just silence in the room after that, because you could tell so many people were just waiting to hear that and to hear it be said out loud. And I meant it. It wasn't about how you looked and if somebody wanted to sleep with you or anything like that. It was about the spirit of competition, giving people a chance, and having a platform on this side of the world and on this side of town that people can respect and want to be at. And that was always my number one goal when I was working there.
I know he keeps the ladies comfortable, which is a huge thing in wrestling. I mean, I'll say as a promoter, I promoted a lot of wrestling and a lot of women's wrestling. And there are a lot of places the ladies go and they're treated like it's a strip joint, you know? I mean, they're just interchangeable boobs and they're not treated like human beings. They're, you know, the pictures are only about their boobs, you know? I mean, and honestly, we have beautiful women here at WSU, and but when Blake works with them, he's putting together a project that actually is art. You know how they used to say, but the pictures were artistic though, about like nude shots and stuff. Not that we're doing nudes, and it was really just, it was trashy. Blake actually looks for art. When he does his theme stuff, he's actually like, let's have fun with it. Let's let your personality come out.
He's one of those people that he's just so passionate about this business, especially women's wrestling, that he knows what he's doing, what he's talking about, and he knows the type of show that people want to see. And I don't think people appreciate that. Like, he is the brain behind WSU.
I look back at some of the footage that we're using for this story, and I see where I used to be at towards the end of the time at WSU. I did everything for that roster, and I put them in front of me. I'm a selfless person, man. My big thing is I want to see everybody succeed. I tell, and you can ask a lot of my friends, I tell people this a lot. Who wants to party at the top of a mountain by themselves when you can party with everybody else that puts in just as much work as you? And I was working hard, you know. A lot of my friends, you know, Yolanda and Leva and Chrissy, you know, and so many more, they can tell you I was up countless nights. Brian Waters, he'll tell you, you know, Greg Excellent, Black G's. I was working hard to put storylines together. And it wasn't just one thing, you know. It got to a point where it was photography. It was helping out with the graphics. It was producing. It was booking. It was agenting. It was writing promos. It was helping direct promos. And I never complained because I wanted us to win.
I credit him a lot with my Spirit Championship run and the feud with Sue Young. That was a lot of fun. It was a really good feud. It told a really good story. And he and I and her just kind of did that together as a team. There's a lot of obstacles, a lot of things that were always thrown at us that were like, it could have been better because of this, but he always kept pushing. He always kept pushing me to be better. He always kept pushing me out of my comfort zone. So that was really cool, because I think that carried through with me even past that storyline and past the championship.
It was a lot of ups and downs with WSU, but for me, I tried to focus on the ups because, you know, in my time in wrestling, I learned a lot. Like, when I was at RCW, I learned how to juggle numerous jobs at once. When I was at ROH, I learned the structure of TV. At CZW WSU, one of the biggest things I learned is even if you're in an unhappy environment, as long as you bring the mood up and you show that you care, that can bring the spirits up to everybody else.
Blake is one of those people that is, he's a huge believer in women's wrestling. He's a huge believer in just making sure that everybody gets a chance, that everybody gets a fair chance, especially the underdog like me gets that chance to shine and gets their chance to really show why they're in this business.
One thing I can say, there's no other photographer in wrestling that's doing that. No other photographer in wrestling is sitting there helping prepare these ladies. I'm going to tell you why. Because no other photographer is booking, is agent in matches, is writing storylines, is writing scripts, is writing promos. When there was a night, when Kiera Hogan won the WSU Spirit Championship, Blake said, "This is what I want you to do. After she wins the title, because she's going to look shocked, I want you to capture us doing that moment backstage where I'm telling her I believed in her."
Are you going to sell merch?
Yeah.
I mean, sell stuff?
Yeah.
All right. I just want to tell you, I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm very happy for you. There was a reason why I did this. I did this because there's so much potential in you. I don't think a lot of people get to see it. And if I can give you that chance to go on that platform and show what you doing what you do, I'm going to give you that. So you deserve this. Honor it. Be that person.
Thank you. Don't make me cry.
Go sell your merch. Come back in here whenever you can. We'll do some pictures.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you.
Now, anytime. I ballooned up to like 193 pounds because you're working with a owner that would say things that wasn't needed to be said when you're trying to keep the morale up. And one of the things that I remember him saying to me was, "You'll never make it in the WWE. They'll never sign you to any of those big companies because what you do is not needed, so deal with it." The whole time, that never brought me down. It always stuck in my head, but it didn't bring me down. It motivated me to be better. So I put everything into that company, into that storyline, making the girl that started off the show feel like she was just as important as the person that was in the main event. There were people that were like, "Oh, Blake's there? Okay, I'll come back to this company." Because they knew the stigma of what the company was and the rumors that they heard would no longer happen if I was there, because I'm not going to let anything happen to let these things fail. That's the passion that I was putting into this product.
I only knew him from the photographer standpoint because a lot of my friends and all the wrestlers work with him that way. And for him to say, "Hey, I'm helping with WSU and we want to bring you in," it wasn't actually an honor to be like, "Oh, all right, it's my chance to come back and work with a great photographer and someone who has a great mind for wrestling and wants to bring WSU back to the top." So if it was an honor for him, it was more of an honor for me than anything to work with him.
He's a genius when it comes to women's wrestling. Like, seriously, I like I like how he sees more than the average eye does. He really pays attention. He's really detailed from everything, from their ring presence to their promos to their movesets to their entrance. Like, really meticulous about the details of women's wrestling that he's very passionate about. I like that he wants them to. I like the fact that he sees them as such a strong piece of wrestling that a lot of people don't, but he's seen it from the gate, you know what I mean, and does his best through late nights and lots of work and lots of hours for the world to see what he sees in women's wrestling.
I love my time at WSU. I love those girls, man, and I thought we had a really good roster of women, and we worked our butts off as a family. Myself, Amy Lee, Maven Bentley, and that roster of women, like, we really wanted the best. And at one point backstage, we had Rob Dimension helping with promos. You had Yolanda Designer helping me set up shoots, and you had so many knowledgeable people back there wanting the best for this product. And we loved it.
He's just somebody who I'm comfortable having around the ladies in this locker room because I know that he's going to treat them like human beings and the professionals that they are. And to me, that's one of the biggest things that you can get, because in indie wrestling, that's not always the case.
I don't really get to see a lot through other people's eyes because I'm always doing my own thing, but ever since I started working with Blake like on a more professional level with like photography and WSU, because he was pretty much the person that kind of vouched for me to be here, it's been a blast. I can't explain how awesome it is other than it's professional, it's fun, and always, always, always welcoming with love.
When I watch Blake work with women wrestlers and how the passion that he has for them, I mean, obviously we live in a time now where you can see, you know, we had this whole women's revolution with WWE, and, you know, that kind of, we're at a point now in 2020 where that kind of even slowed up a bit. But, you know, women deserve the same opportunities that the men are getting in everything that they inspire to do. And I've met plenty of talented women wrestlers that are just as entertaining as the men. And to see Blake really devote time to really want to like showcase that, you know, it's very interesting to watch, and also help these women deal with the bullshit that they have to deal with. There's a lot that comes along with being a woman in a male-heavy industry that you're just going to get walking in the door. And for Blake to be you know, like a reasonable guy that they could just come to and say, how do I deal with this situation, or this person's doing that, and, you know, just kind of just be another opinion that they can trust. You know, it's a remarkable thing, and I think it's like, it is sad that that's like a rarity, especially in the wrestling business.
I had to keep my head up for the rest of the people involved, and I still wanted to make that company the best it can be, no matter what the owner thought or anybody else thought. So I made sure my time there, I wanted to have those girls in good hands. And that's why when I had to make the decision to leave, it was so hard, because it's like, you know, I would think about times of when I was trying to develop a calendar, or me and Yolanda are trying to develop merch, and, you know, we're just trying to get these things to happen. It's like, well, let's do this calendar, and, you know, just the stuff that the owner would say. And I was like, man, and do I want to have somebody? Do I want to have these girls in those type of hands? But, you know, it's just one of those things where you got to make a decision where health comes first and everything. And, you know, in the end, I think that, you know, it was best for me. It was best for those girls. And, you know, we all kind of made a really big story, you know, whether it was the Kiera Hogan win, the Fella Twins getting the tag team championships, the birth of the Reckoning, you know, Allie's run as a champion, the return of Mercedes Martinez. There was a lot that happened in that run that I'm very proud of. So I don't let the negatives weigh in the most. I think about the positives, and, you know, we move forward, and I think it was a good learning experience. And definitely those hard times motivated me to make sure that in any hard time, I'm ready for anything, and I'm ready to make a positive out of any negative.
One of the things is his mind for the business. I'm going to give you an example. We were at dinner one night after one of our shows, and we're sitting there, as we always do. We would reflect on the show. We talk about what went right, what went wrong, how do people feel. Blake would even ask me and our friend Hugh, what was the crowd like? Because he was literally doing so much during that show. I'm talking getting pictures done, promo pics before the show. If the show began at 4, we would get there at noon and set up, maybe take about an hour or sometimes less. And then he was taking promo pictures up until locker room meetings. And he made sure that he told the girls, I'm not booking you because you're attractive. I'm booking you because of your work ethic. I'm booking you because I believe in you. Even wrestlers who didn't believe in themselves in certain areas, Blake made sure that he would get the best out of them.
I get asked, like what happened with the WSU thing. Like I said, I'm not about drama, and I'm not here to shade anybody or anything. So I'll just leave it as in creative differences. Our visions were different, and personally, I didn't want to be lied to anymore, and it was one of the hardest decisions for me that I had to make because, like I said, physically, I ballooned up to 193 pounds. I'm constantly stressed, and I didn't feel myself. But then you get that other side. It's like I can't give up on these girls. I can't give up on these rosters. I can't give up on everything we worked hard for. But it does come to a point where you got to put your health first, and you got to have peace of mind. And the people that really care about you, they're going to be there for you and be there with you regardless. They're going to still talk to you. It's wrestling. Sometimes you're going to continue to talk to people, and sometimes you won't. And I made my decision, and we parted ways, and it is what it is, and I still talk to the people that I talk to. And look, for the people that is now a part of that roster, whether I know you or not, I wish you all the best. No tea, no shade, no ill will. But for once, I finally put myself first.